Hello, everybody. Welcome to the SGDQ 2023 pre-show behind the scenes special, starring myself and the one and only JHobz. So I was the technical director for the pre-show for the live portion that you all saw, and then I was also the director of any like remote stuff, pre-recorded stuff that we put in there. I'm joined by Hobbs.
Hello. Hi. I remembered to hit start recording on the camera for you. So,
yay!
like in the middle of your intro. But yeah, we did this after last event, right? After AGDQ 2023.
Yeah, we did this after AGDQ 2020.
Yeah, and it was super fun. So we're doing it again. We're just going to talk about the show, basically, like the work that goes into doing a pre-show. Specifically this one from SGDQ 2023, and maybe show some behind-the-scenes footage and stuff.
Well, not maybe. We will be showing some stuff, yeah. I put together some stuff that I found interesting for you all. But before I play the video, let's just talk about like the general concept. Like, obviously, we're doing a heist, and this actually came together because I was so busy with stuff I wasn't able to join like the pre-show meetings beforehand to, get the overall concept. So how did you settle on the heist? Where did this come from?
Well, so originally our whole theme was actually going to be like centered in a restaurant or something, but we realized it didn't really give us a theme. It just kind of gave us a setting. So then we got pretty jazzed about doing a heist for some reason. I honestly don't remember it, other than just I think somebody wrote heist down in a brainstorming document.
Just a big couple letters, heist.
I'll say what really made it, I think what really made it click for everybody and made it so that we straight up were like, okay, we're definitely going to do this. Like the thing that made it, like, got it, everybody jazzed about it was when we decided, like, when somebody said, what if we're stealing the first speed run?
Yeah.
I think that was what finally, like, got people really excited about it. It's like, ooh, that's intriguing. And from there it was just, we ran with it. So it was fun.
Yeah, but let's play the intro. I think I could just do this until Spike slaps the nut button. I mean the heist button. Yeah. But let's just take a peek. Right. Remember what everything looked like. Yeah, live audience. So that energy was incredible right off the start.
This was so new for us. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. And welcome to Summer Games Done Quick 2023! We are coming to you
tried to
live
catch
from
the camera, but then it
Minnesota,
switched
with a week
back.
full of awesome speedruns. We're raising money for Médecins Sans Frontières, also known as Doctors Without Borders.
I'll just practice that line so many times, every time. Say Médecins Sans Frontières.
Médecins Sans Frontières is just... I knew I did Spanish, okay, so it's different. It'd be medicine, so it's like the only thing I use a note card for in these pre-shows anymore, basically, at least in this one.
Now that all being said, my name's JHobz, and I'm joined by Kizaron, Kung Fu Fruit Cup, and Spike Vegeta, and we are here to break down. Oh wow! Well, thank you.
All for you.
But we are here to break down this awesome week full of speedruns.
The big thing. What would we call it? Like cloche? Cloche?
It's a cloche.
Cloche, yeah. I'd never heard of that term before.
I wish we had a table, in front of the tables, so that it was a bit more, visible.
In this case, we have the first speedrun ever. Never before seen. Nobody even knows what game it is.
Oh my gosh. Okay, please, can I lift the cloth? Can I do it, please? Hobbs, let me.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, here we go. What?
Very impressive, Jeff. It's a piece of paper.
No. Wait.
So is there anything actually written on that paper?
I think it got replaced with a blank one, but during rehearsals, it was, I don't remember. I think somebody did write something on this. It was Y and H, I believe, so... But at one point, it was my character sheet from last year's pre-show, or from last event's pre-show, that was in there. And I was like, you need to swap this out.
I've locked it in my safe, and you'll never see me again. Except, of course, during the Silly Block on Thursday, where I will 100% be watching from the audience.
Silly Block's great.
With love, Michael. P.S. Please watch Batman Forever. It really slaps.
I mean, that's really two-faced of Mike.
I'm gonna pause here because I legit did not notice this happened, even though I was heavily involved with the pre-show.
What, the fist bump?
Yeah, the fist bump. So Keys does a stupid pun, and then Hobbs is not angry at him.
Yeah. That was like the whole thing.
Okay, so Mike took it?
Didn't he retire?
Yeah.
I mean, that was like the whole plan. I don't know,
Yeah.
you know.
Mike's our boss, so that's that. I mean, we can just talk about games on the schedule. That'll be cool. That'll be fun, right?
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Well, wait, I mean, hold on here, folks. We can have a discussion about possibilities for a second. I mean, yeah, Mike's our boss, but he can't get mad if he doesn't know it's missing.
Hobbs, what are you saying?
Haven't we always wanted to do an elaborate heist on the pre-show?
No.
Elaborate heist?
No.
Wait, is it?
Of course,
Is it?
basically just stolen from Community, like a lot
Yeah.
of our stuff, because Community's so good.
Slap that heist button!
Okay.
All right,
I'm
all
gonna
right.
pause it here because we
Yeah,
have a
yeah.
lot to talk about. So first thing, that heist button, if you didn't know this, is the nut button that Spike has on his stream that says nut. And we took the batteries out so we didn't accidentally have it just say nut.
Yeah, we took the batteries out and we taped.
Yeah,
I think we
just
taped
taped
over-
heist on it. Yeah.
Well, no, we didn't tape heist on it. We taped HEIS over the NU, so that
Yeah.
way the T from the nut button was still there. So it was just heist T.
yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah, but basically the idea for the pre-show was, first videotape, all that, and then all of these little like character vignettes. So these were made before we even arrived at GDQ. It was like, so Hobbs, like you took like your phone, like everybody just took their phone and just recorded like, here's some random actions. What was the inspiration for it?
We needed a way to like kind of introduce everybody. I don't think we even originally were gonna like do any of this kind of thing, but somebody just brought up like it'd be fun if we had like intros for all the roles, because they sometimes do that, right? Like somebody shows up and they're like, oh, it's this person or whatever. And I think Corvame was like, oh, it'd be like the Leverage intro. And I don't think any of us had seen Leverage.
I definitely have not.
Except May. And so that was kind of our main like inspiration, was we looked at what they did, because they did it very quickly as well, which was our big thing, was like we didn't want it to drag on too long. So the goal was get like 2 or 3 or 4 scenes for each person, just doing their role, because every person had like kind of a character, like had an archetype that they were playing. And I was the mastermind. It turns out it's kind of hard to film yourself being the mastermind when there's nobody else. like you need to be talking to other people, but you also have to be the focus in the thing. So I just had myself on like my phone. I drew out a blueprint. So this blueprint, I drew up a whole like bank layout basically. Where we were gonna put like little Easter egg things on it, but honestly it was taking way too long to just draw out this layout for the thing.
It looks pretty good. Like,
yeah, it was like the day before, and my friend was helping me film it, and yeah, I was just like, yeah, nobody's gonna be able to see it anyways to put in the Easter egg stuff. It would just be for basically this show we're doing now, and I would have, but we just kind of forgot about it as we were quickly trying to do it. I like Community a lot, and I think it's an extremely like smart TV show and just an extremely funny one. And so we like, I end up pulling inspiration from that a lot. And what is it? I think it's A Few Paintballs More episode does like little freeze frame character intros that I was also kind of just thinking about this little like map. That whole thing was like held up on the wall by like some command strips, and it was definitely gonna fall like any second. So it just, and that monitor you see there like is not normally there, but it was just like kind of a bare wall, because I was also packing to move. Like, it was also moving out of my place. It was empty. So I put the monitor just up on this like shelf just so that it looked like it wasn't a completely empty room.
Spike just with the DK ties so much.
Spike or Keys just kind of here.
Just
Yeah,
kind of there, just doing it. It's yeah, that was all edited by our the GDQ editor Esteban before the show.
I wish we had a little bit more time to play with all of that. It took us a while to like nail down the characters, so all of our like vignette recordings were kind of like done pretty late in the process, and I wish we had a little bit more time, because I would have loved for like the audio to just like cut out when Keys happens, and you just hear like room noise and very loud like crunching or something until because he says at one point in one of the clips that clip that he recorded, he straight up says like, wait, are you filming or something like that? And it would have been so great to include like that line and then cut off like the filming, the word filming, but we just didn't have a ton of time for like nitpicks, so we just kind of got it working.
Yeah, every time we do a pre-show, there's always that constant battle, because like, what do we want to do creatively, and how much time do we actually have to do it? And there's gonna be more on that later when we get into like the flash forward segments. But a big thing going to the next, so there's this shot of this map, and I'm just gonna play it. It just keeps on going, and it keeps on going. And it keeps on going. You can see like the camera right there that is just going over. And the reason this is so dang long, if you weren't at the event space, was because we had the bright idea to use 2 sets for this pre-show, which was a total pain in the neck to deal with. So like we had like the set at the start that was like behind the crowd and all that. And we had like 30 feet, 40 feet. I don't know exactly how far away. I think it's like around 20, 30 feet. Away is where like the backdrop was. So as soon as that button's pressed, we get this little tiny video segment that we insert. Then we have to get every single person up and carry the snake cable with all the headsets to make sure nobody trips and goes down a set of stairs and then get over around this table. So we just kept on adding and hanging on this footage, and it goes on a little bit longer. We gave ourselves some buffer room, but this is essentially exactly as long as it took for us to be ready to be able to transition over.
Originally, we were trying to get it down, and we did get it down to getting around the table within just those character vignettes, because it was like 28 seconds or something. No, it was way less than that. What am I talking about?
It was like 12 seconds, because each one of those is like 3 seconds long. If we did it faster, it would have been a safety hazard with everybody running over tables.
Yeah, it was really short, and we got under it, but it was also like, it turned out that we were able to use the main jib for the stage during filming, just to get some shots of the blueprint, just to pad some time, because it was better to just be able to be safe and make sure we were all set.
This blueprint was just the actual event map for SGDQ 2023.
With all the labels removed.
All the labels were removed, but this is basically the hotel, so it kind of makes sense for the people paying very, very close attention.
One of the main reasons we had to do a set change, we kept referring to a planning phase and an execution phase when we were writing this thing. And the planning phase was like, okay, well, it's not going to happen like at the pre-show tables. Like, that's weird. And we couldn't start the pre-show like this. So it was just kind of like, we wanted to convey something about like a bunch of people standing in like a warehouse or a hotel room or something to do a plan, like to do the planning out. We ended up still settling on just having the backdrop up there as well. It's not, you're not gonna make a full illusion for everybody, right? We're not gonna make it look exactly like a warehouse if it's
we only have so much budget, you know.
Yeah, basically zero. So it was just, that was part of the reason we needed to switch sets, was just like, okay, well, logically in the script, like if we're doing this very suddenly, but we're starting at the pre-show set, like, well, we can't have this, you know, they're not going to look the same.
Yeah, we really definitely wanted to have that opening shot on the crowd, like, for sure, because
it was new. It was new for us.
Yeah, so we completely changed the set. So the set for the interview area is elevated. It's on risers, because we wanted to be able to kind of like have that background, and this is like the first time we had like essentially a set designer where we was like, okay, let's make this look pretty. Let's make this look really pretty. We made do before. This is like the first time it's like a really big focus for us to come up with something that was very visually appealing. I think we knocked it out. But a couple notes on the production end for this one. So this whole scene right here is intentionally darker lit because we kind of wanted it just to go for a not really like a grittier feel, but like, you know, less like, okay, you know, we're over here in this dimly lit area going over this clandestine like, but yeah.
It needs to feel a bit more like film, right? Like it would have been, the thing is the lights we have are more like photography lights. Like they're not really great for lighting a set or a scene. And so what we would have loved to have ideally was like a spotlight around the table that's, you know, catching all of the people standing there, and then maybe another light that's catching Keys, and let everything else kind of fade into the background, like fade into dark. And then we got it as close as we could because that was just not something we could really do with our lights.
We definitely had to improvise some stuff, but let's watch a little bit more. And we definitely had to do a lot of blocking of our interviewers, the actors on stage, because
normally we don't move much.
Well,
so
we normally
it's
don't
not a
move
big
much,
thing.
but yeah, we had to get 7 people in, constantly going to the table and back, so we just had to like block everything out and make sure we had a plan. So it basically turned into a live movie that we had to make. Yeah, so Keys' role, by the way, here is just like, why don't we do this? He's like kind of like being the same person, the voice of reason for everybody. So he's just like kind of not involved and just watching everybody do stuff because he's too bored, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
Why can't we just download it? Twitch VODs.
I mean, this thing contains the collective power of all speedruns. You really think somebody would be foolish enough to upload it to the internet? It's a priceless artifact worth millions, captured on timeless technology. A video home system.
I do not know VHS standard for.
This thing's on a VHS?
Videos.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, our man on the inside says that the tape's being kept in the presidential suite.
That seems easy enough. I'll just go and grab it.
Well, if only we're so simple. You see, first we have to grab a key from the guards.
Which there's only one copy of.
We can just go to the front desk and get
Exactly, Spike. So, I've been studying the guards' patrol routes, and I think I found the best time to sneak up on them.
Oh, okay, so I've been really excited for the Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes run by RP Green on Tuesday. Now, that gives me a good idea on how to handle it. I know, it's so exciting.
One of the tricky things is that it, like when we're doing this, is that it's always, you never know where people are going to laugh or are going to cheer for like a specific game or anything like that. So whenever we do the pre-show, it's always tricky because you're like, okay, well, you hope this joke lands. Like, we think it's funny, but is it going to land? I don't know. So you can't like necessarily hang on anything too long unless it's like, okay, this has to land or the whole thing doesn't work. And then same with like food. Like sometimes if people are cheering for a game or something, you have to kind of interrupt your own flow for a second in order to just kind of let that happen. So she was having to do that there as well, where like some people cheered. It's kind of hard to hear in the recording. It was way easier to hear in person. Like, so it probably didn't come over stream all that well either.
Yeah, since we're picking up stuff with like the headset microphones, like by design, they're not going to get as much background noise.
Yeah, exactly. I think the crowd mics might be live as well, but I'm not sure. But yeah, they're picking up enough background noise for it to be annoying, like for our audio folks to deal with, but not so much that you're going to hear the crowd like super clearly every time they cheer.
So, how often do the patrol rotate?
About every 2 minutes.
That's horribly inefficient.
Okay, well then I'm not gonna have time to sneak up in a box.
No.
So we'll need a distraction.
That's where I
We
come
missed
in.
the camera cut.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of rehearsal time, and that's something that we're working on really hard for the next event, is making sure that we have more rehearsal time, and that hurts like, you know, the on-screen, like the on-camera talent, but it hurts like the production side way more.
It's very difficult.
Yeah, because, like, you know, Fu, Keys, Spike, and I, and everybody else who's on the pre-show, like, we can practice over Discord, and it's not going to be perfect. It's not the same kind of thing. But, you know, at least we're getting some rehearsals in. We can practice on site while, like, tech is still being set up and that kind of thing. But, like, the people switching that are actually pressing the buttons to switch the camera. Was it you this time, Phant? Or was it,
so the way this works behind the scenes, like I'm the technical director, so I am the one pushing the buttons that results in the camera change, and then our lead interview producer, Caveman, was the director of like the live stage. So like he's basically calling like ready 2, ready 1, like ready the cameras to switch it while I'm doing all the actual stuff to make that happen.
Yeah, and then we have somebody on audio and graphics as well. Although I think technical director was also doing graphics at the start of the week. But yeah, so it's like the people who are there doing all of the things to make all the cameras, you know, to like switch all the cameras and everything and make all the audio be great. They don't get nearly as much rehearsal time if we have like slow setups or we start late in the day, and that is like really brutal, because then it means you like miss a camera cut, or maybe you can't cut to the camera because they have not framed the camera up yet, because not everybody has all the timing down yet.
Yeah, we can't do the blocking till we're on set. Like we could we could definitely like get an idea. This is probably what's going to look like. This is probably what we can do. But until we're actually there, we know our space. That's when it really all comes together and we have to rehearse it. I think we got to do a single, like full up, start to finish rehearsal.
We got more than one. It was more than one, but it wasn't many. It was like two, maybe.
Well, it was one that went the whole way. We had several ones that like did partial, or we just like on the production ignored stuff. Like let them go. We're still fixing stuff up here, but we definitely had a single one where we had here's all the camera shots. Let's do it. Every single time we do one of these are kind of like a flash forward segment where it's like we're planning on this. Let's see what's actually what we're talking about. This is Fantasyland type thing, implying future events that will happen.
Yeah, it's like I talked about before. We had planning phase and execution phase, and like every time we're in execution phase, for the most part, it's these pre-recorded things that we're flashing forward to.
Yeah, so we shot all of these throughout the event space. So while like JHobz and crew or whoever was available to like go work on the actual stage set. A team, usually with me directing, and everybody else who actually needed to be there, just like rotating people in and out, getting everything together, would just be going around all over the place on the hotel and getting this done. So these were all shot on either Friday or Saturday immediately before the event, so we had very little time to get them shot and edited. And stylistically speaking, I wanted to differentiate these types of things from the live show, so all of these are shot intentionally at 30 FPS. To give it more of a movie-like feel. And then also the color palette is muted. That is also intentional to try and like give some contrast of you're watching the execution versus the other thing. So it's very, very clear visually what's going on. I'm not sure how much of that landed, but that was a goal.
I wish we could have had like some... letterboxing was a big thing that we wanted to do, but I think we just couldn't do in time. And also I think like having a subtle bit of film grain or even taking it all the way to 24 FPS or something, I think would have been cool. But it was just, again, we only have so much time once we arrive on site to make things happen, and we don't always... We try to have as complete of a game plan going in as we can, but we don't always, because we just don't know. Like, we had not been in this hotel in a very long time, so we just didn't know what we'd be able to use and not use.
Yeah, this is just like a hallway on like floor 24 of the hotel. Which is the same one where like all the suites are, so it wasn't as heavily trafficked, but we still set up in a hotel hallway trying to light it and get two people on.
Yeah.
We also had limited use of microphones that we had, so some of it sounds a little bit weird, but...
Some of the audio is better than others. Again, that's the kind of like cleanup touches that we don't have like as much time to do as we would have. Like, I really liked how these turned out, but I knew that, like on site, I was like, if we had another day, I'd love to like do some more with the audio, but like we didn't have another day. We barely had hours or whatever.
We had a couple people editing the pre-show. Trey was a big one, and on the interview team, David also did a whole bunch, and I kind of like oversaw musical a little Daredevil. Bit of it. Yeah, musical Daredevil. So we were up very late making sure we got all the shots done. I did not know about this zoom in thing until we showed it live. I was just laughing because it just totally looks like it's just zooming in on Spike's ass. But there is a reason for this. Because
closing it on like...
Yeah, it's closing it on his hand, doing whatever weird thing he's doing. But it still kind of gives that vibe. But the reason that it's zooming in here is because we're shooting in a hallway. We've got lights and camera, and we have a very condensed space to do this in. And this whole scene with like Fu, and Fu freaking nailed it. Like, she first tried this, is like, walk towards the camera, I'm gonna pull back, and then just flip your hair. It's like, there's all different pickup shots with one camera. But this part where Fu's walking back, and then flips her hair, does the wink, it was so perfect. But the reason that it has to do this zoom in is because literally 2 inches to the right is where the huge light stand is. So I continued to pull back because I didn't know where the end of the shot was. So like this little zoom in effect here basically crops out all the equipment that you see literally just outside of this circle. So that's why that is there.
Okay, so I get the key. Now, how do we use it?
Well, the key gets us into the security system, provided our hacker's as good as he says he is.
That's where I come in.
Okay.
Yeah, this is our only audio like live audio wrinkle we had the whole one, which was just missing the cue on this. And this comes down to what I was saying before again about like we just have not given people enough time to rehearse usually. So this is the only one that gets missed. ADF just shouts it, and we're like, okay, well, hopefully it got picked up enough by the other mics.
Yeah, so we did just have ADF chilling behind the couch, and every time we have him come in, we get a vignette ready to play.
ADFs are great.
Yeah. Okay, so another thing.
For the record, hold on, real quick, go back to so ADF like had a shot of this street with him like, running past the camera with the laptop, but it then hangs on it for a very long time because he circled back and did it again. So it's just he wanted to make sure we had we had it. So there's a few of them, and it's just so funny when you watch like the uncut version of it.
And this is also one where as soon as ADF gets to the right side of the screen, the video is over. It ends.
Yeah.
So every single time we were doing this in rehearsals, I was always late to press the button because of how fast it came. This is like the one thing I was paying very close attention to make sure we transition out of this as quickly as humanly possible. So you can see right when he gets to the end, it's like we're swapping back regardless if we're good or not.
Yeah, we were still getting a little set. But...
the Halo 3 legendary.
Okay, well, camera could...
Camera hops.
Between Cortana and 343 Guilty Spark, I can hack into anything.
All right, so what are we looking at here, Ada?
Okay, well, their security systems are more advanced than we thought. They've got a triple encryption key and a quadruple double reinforced quantum firewall.
In English.
I think that was
Sorry, I needed a second. Yeah, all the BS terms, just to try and make it sound as silly as possible.
And a link between worlds on Monday afternoon.
And you can do that?
It'll be a sure shot as long as Spike comes through with the key.
Yeah, you can really see the color grading on this one a bit better. Like that, it's
it's very
muted.
washed out. And again, that is an intentional choice. I love ADF's shirt, the Speedrunners and Dragons Magical Miles. Of course, you got that in there. So this was one of two scenes we shot in the quote-unquote presidential suite. That wasn't actually the presidential suite. I'll talk more about that later because the whole situation around that was kind of unbelievable and silly doing this, but we just found a room, got a big table, and then it's like, okay, let's just go in and have Spike hand the key in, and then we'll just have ADF babble on for however long.
What are you doing now?
And yes, that is hackertyper.net. That's all it is.
With that,
it's like, this is the easiest thing to do. Just put it on there.
Nice.
It's
pretty simple stuff, really. Once I applied my Suzuki Baku Hatsu algorithm, it was really just a matter of time. That's a run you can see Monday night by Kino. Nice. This is the future of heists, It'll all be here, on the computer, on the internet. Your guys' job of actually running around and stealing stuff, that would be a thing of the past. Nice.
So the original plan for this was that every time like Spike responds to ADF, he says "nice," and we were just gonna film him saying it once and then cut it in so that it played that back over and over each time.
The same exact
clip. So it was just
clip.
the same exact clip, kind of like in a Too Many Cooks kind of way, if you're familiar with that. And then eventually the last one was gonna be different, and that was the whole idea. I still don't know exactly what happened. Apparently, we tried it and it just didn't work for some reason. It just wasn't working or something. We weren't getting the right effect. It just didn't come out. It didn't come off funny enough, basically. That was what I had heard about it. So it was it's a shame that we ended up losing that, but if it's not working, then I'm glad we at least recorded it this way as well.
About the ephemerality of life, about how everything is constantly changing and it feels impossible to keep up. Like how, 1 second you're the youngest person in speedrunning, and then the next minute it feels like there's some 14-year-old kid named Blanco or something that's getting the new 16-star world record, and it's just where did my youth go? Am I just computers now? This really makes you think is all. Nice. Are the new recruits in position? I think so. Oh, then it is showtime!
I love the music we put in here, and just the way the music comes back in there when Spike says nice. I really, really love that touch.
Yeah. Oh, it was really good. And also, the "Am I just computers now" was just improvised by ADF when we were doing one of the takes. It was only that take, I think, where he said that, or maybe a follow-up because we all thought it was funny. But for most, it was not in the script. He just improvised that line during the rant, and it ended up being like really funny.
Yeah, Adolf is a very funny human for sure.
I also thought we were going to go with a less intense version of Showtime, maybe, but that note never made it to the editor. So.
Again, this all came together like over the course of about 36 hours, from filming to edited in the computer, ready to go. So
some of them less than that. That's the other thing, is we're always having to work around when people are arriving too. And like Caveman, the lead interview producer, was like, his entire flight got canceled and delayed to the next morning, so like that threw a wrench through things too.
Right.
It was really you just can't, you got to be able to just make it work. We can't be ready for that kind of thing.
So once the comms are down, we're gonna have to get to the north hallway. But unfortunately, apparently it's being guarded by
Me stalling to remember my
swarm
line.
of guards.
Yeah.
A creature at the northwest intersection.
Ooh, there's guards and a creature. I don't think any of us are equipped to handle that.
That's where we come in.
And these are our 2 new interviewers for SGDQ 2023. So this is the first thing, and the final 2 people in this pre-show, because we have so many people on this pre-show.
Well, originally, yeah, we were going to have fewer people on the pre-show. Like, it was going to maybe just be 4 or 5 of us. But we talked about it, and we decided, like, for this kind of Ocean's 11 parody kind of thing we're doing here, you need a lot of people. And so we ended up just adding roles for everybody. And then we ended up, like, in our writing, we wrote around that. Like, we specifically wrote obstacles for like each person, for each character. Mellows are so good.
Yeah.
You went way over the top. We barely get to see them. Rubies are great too. Ruby hit, quote unquote, their partner with so many weapons, like so many random things, and also like, you know, was doing the earring thing. Mello like went and got like 4 or 5 different clips, like went out to a like zoo or like nature park or something for the day just to go film for his role. And like brought like his family and stuff and like turned it into a whole thing, like a whole day. So
all of that
was
for
super cool.
2.5 seconds of footage for the pre-show.
Yeah, like there's one that I think didn't make it in there, or maybe it was in there, of like him playing with like a manta ray.
Yeah, that's it. That was the starting one.
Oh, okay, yeah. But yeah, it was just like the birds just landed on him, and he was able to film it. It was incredible.
All right, a creature? Let's break this down. What do we know about the little cutie?
Well, all we have to go off of is this picture.
It's tough because we also only have so many cameras to work with, and camera operators have like as much, if not less, time to train on what the shots are going to be than we do, which is again like a day, less than a day.
Yes.
I think our rehearsal started at 8 p.m. the day before,
Friday night, 6 p.m.
which like sucked, but it was just the way it worked.
Yeah, and it did not. My day did not end until like 3 a.m. after we had closed editing for everything. It was rough. It was 2 back-to-back 14-hour days for me, basically, to make this pre-show happen. But a lot of effort goes into this 30-minute thing.
Dragonite!
All right, well, it looks like Pokemon Coliseum is on Friday, so yeah, that works.
Oh, wait. Mel, I've got the perfect thing for you. I've got the perfect thing for this. Oh, my little bag of tricks right here. I have got
Look at that live
It's
zoom.
gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect for like catching little creatures like you're gonna see in Bug Snacks later. Now, Conception and Lemmy, they're letting me borrow this, but as long as you get it back to them before they're running 2 hours, that'll be just fine.
Right.
All right, so while Mello handles the animal, let's focus on the next room.
Yeah, so this is like a little aside that they're going into. So they're still talking about stuff like in theory, but we're just zooming in for the audience on a conversation Mel and Ruby are going to be having.
Don't worry, I've got your back no matter what happens in the field. Look, I've been watching Etiquette's runs of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet tons of times, okay? And there's gonna be a bid war on Saturday night for which one of the games he runs. He KOs like 200 Pokemon in those games. He'll be fine.
The KOs was kind of a compromise because we wanted to get like something on of like, oh, killing animals and all this other stuff. But it's like, we can't just like go that harsh. We need to use something a little bit more tame. So that is why we eventually ended up on KOs. But originally, so we have the Dragonite here. And Dragonite was our backup because the original plan was to use the grand prize Ivysaur plush that it's like absolutely massive.
It's huge. When we saw it, we're like, that is literally perfect because it was just this really, really big plush. And then eventually we just had to work around it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it didn't come in until like halfway through the week. So we just had to use Dragonite, which one of our interview producers, Bob, had brought this, drove over and brought the backup Dragonite just in case. And it's not really that big, so I kind of had to shoot it to look more threatening than it was, just with close-ups and low angles and all that. I think it kind of worked out.
Good luck, have fun.
Ruby, come back! I don't like this.
All right, Mello, you need to buy us 60 seconds. Distract the creature.
Hey there, little friend. It's okay. You can trust me. Don't you want to watch Super Metroid on Saturday night? It's a co-op any percent with Shiny Zenny and Toast.
The dragaways. It was so good.
Trying to get the screams correct was quite difficult, and originally I was gonna film this somewhere else, but this was one of the shots that we filmed on day 2, where day 2 is day 2 for us. Filming was like day 0 for the event, Saturday before it started, and there were a lot more people outside, and it was very, very loud.
Yeah.
So this is just at a corner inside. I think there's like the private practice room or something that we commandeered for an hour or so to get all this filmed.
I love the lighting change on it. I wasn't present for that recording, so when I saw it the first time, I was like, oh my god, they actually changed the lighting on.
Yeah, absolutely. That was very much intentional. We had to shoot a couple different takes of Mello falling over. It's just off screen. On the left side of this frame, there's a little pad that we had him fall over on. We needed to make sure he didn't injure himself, and that'd be bad. We don't want to hurt our talent. So, so I think we did this probably 3 or 4 times. I remember and then Corby May was behind the camera and just launching the Dragonite. A couple of them missed, either too low, too high, but eventually we got one out. And then got an interesting scream going on. I didn't contribute too much to the writing of this, but I kind of had a lot of creative freedom on how to shoot all these little remote segments. So I kind of started, we had a little script together. Here's the things that are going to happen in here. And this one was very simple. It's Mello and Ruby come in here, and then Mello confronts Pokemon, and then Pokemon attacks Mello, and then screams into the distance. And originally it was going to be screaming as we transfer into the next segment, but it's very hard to scream for a very long period of time, so we ended up dropping that. And when we were in there, I was like, hey, Mello, you want to just crawl into frame? We can just drag you out like a classic horror movie, because I love horror movies. And Mello's like, yes, I'm down. Let's go. Let's go do it. So to pull it off, we had initially just this crawling segment, where we're close up on the floor. I forget who had the idea to throw the hat in. It may have been May. Can we just have Dragonite throw the hat in, then you grab it and do something? Because whenever you're shooting something or just blocking something out, staging something, it's always very important to not just have people talking or doing one thing. It's always very nice to have and a target to have. Here's what this character's doing. Here's the action that they're going through, so it's not just straight up dialogue talking back and forth or things. So having the hat in, he's crawling towards the hat, and that gives a goal, it gives a target to go forward. It just makes everything a lot more interesting. And then we had Mello sitting on some plastic, so he didn't get rug burn.
Oh, I was wondering about that. I did not know that. And I was just I figured he just suffered for the art or something.
Yeah. So we had some plastic to reduce the friction, so he didn't get hurt.
I'm glad.
And then Bob lifted up his legs, and on the cue, I'd cue him up. It's okay, yank him out of there. So I'm very happy we got this one in, because that I think is my favorite shot in the pre-show.
Yeah.
So Mello's gonna handle the animal, but Ruby, you're gonna have to dispatch all the guards. What's your plan?
Well, in any fight, the most important element is being able to scope out the enemy's weaknesses.
What's the most effective way to do that?
Well, scanning the room, analyzing their movements, like watching how they fight, looking to see if there are any distinct glowing weak points. Look, I've got just the thing. Samurai Man actually designed a scanner specifically for the Metroid Prime Remastered Any Percent run that's happening on Friday afternoon. It should do the trick.
I forgot we ended up getting that graphic in.
I basically finished this off because like it was originally going to be cut, and this was my idea to have a Metroid Prime scan go off. So I was like, dang it, I like this idea. I'm going to make it happen. So I just told Shao, I was like, give me some pictures, and I will go put them in as soon as we can, and then just have like the load bar go up on the bottom. And then for the sound effects, I couldn't just find like the recorded to logbook sound effect without blaster noises and ambient Metroid Prime noises. So I ended up just downloading the ripped audio files from like a Metroid Prime disc. And the scan sound effect is like a quarter of a second long, and like it loops over and over again. So I had to like go into Premiere, splice this up to have it go for like a couple seconds, and then hunt through thousands of files to find the recorded to logbook audio and get that in here just for this little bit. But I'm glad we did get it in here.
Wait, Ruby, you're gonna need my help with this.
Spike thought he had more time there.
He's an absolute giant.
It's
so
definitely
let me
not
get my
long,
little
yeah.
bag of tricks out right here, and let's find you something to take him down. Let's see, you're just finding the right fit for you.
I love Ruby just trying to contain her laughter.
Princess speedrun later this week. That's gonna be pretty sick. If it's a little heavy for you, you could maybe still pack a punch here with the super hammer from Paper Mario. That'd be really fun. Now, maybe you just want to immobilize.
Do you know where Ruby got all of this junk? I know she brought some of it. I don't know how much.
I think Fu brought some of it as well, and then some things were prizes. Originally, we wanted it to be like the weapons to all be prizes, and just be like, you know, get larger and larger and whatnot. But it just wasn't viable for like, I don't think we got that many. Well, we got some other weapons as prizes, but they were like huge, like way too heavy to do in this manner, like to lumber around casually.
Especially
so
the Megaton hammer.
Like the Megaton hammer was the one of them that was going to be used, and then we ended up not doing it because it was like, yeah, that's just not happening. That thing's like 40 pounds for each part of it.
The Megaton hammer weighs a ton, absolutely. And yeah, so like Ruby put it together in the prize room and was like seeing, like, no, I cannot swing this. It's dangerous. So we went for the much lighter. I think it was like the Fire Emblem prize that we have.
Yeah,
like
the Fire
big
Emblem axe.
axe.
It's kind of weird. You can look it up. There was like a lion soaring.
I think I got it handled. I've actually been studying the Thievius Raccoonus after seeing Zenthro's run of Sly Cooper all keys. I needed to make sure that I was prepared.
Stuff to say about this one.
Watch the run on Monday night. Trust me.
Yes,
This one gets me every time because Shout just did a good like reaction to getting butted in the head with the hilt of the axe or whatever it's called. So this one I intentionally shot handheld to kind of like give it that stupid action movie type thing where it's like a shakier appearance. Though the editors told me, please don't do that ever again. So I still like how it came out, but it was pretty funny. Ruby is, and I think Adef as well, like actually, practiced like stage combat. And obviously we took it very, very safe with a very, very relaxed swing. But yeah, it's like she gave Shout some tips, and I was like, hey, when I do this, you do that, and this is how we're going to make it work, and everybody's going to be safe. Like, we planned out, it's like, okay, let's make sure we have plenty of room, so when you do swing it, even if, like, you accidentally go too hard, that you're not going to actually injure anybody. So we did take all that into account to make sure we did all of this perfectly safely. And I love Court here.
Those are my sunglasses, by the way. Court didn't have any.
I was wondering why they're so big. Literally, like, the video ends after a little bit because we couldn't just open the door. So we needed to slowly take 2 steps toward the door, so we had enough time to fade back over here.
Yeah, the other thing I thought you were going to mention or that is that Shout's scream
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I think peaked the camera or something. Like we didn't have it from the actual recording day, so we had to ADR in his screen. So it's like it doesn't match up perfectly, but it's the kind of thing where like it only you can only really notice if you know to look for it. Mm-hmm. So he did a pretty good job of matching it as close as he could.
Yeah, I took ADEF and I think JHobz as well and Shout aside.
I had one line, yeah.
Into the same room that we did the mellow getting attacked by Dragonite. And like the Dragonite pickup shots were also in a completely different area of the hotel. So it was just everything mishmashed all over the place using what we had. And it's just like, okay, Shout, come in here, we'll do this. And then we needed to like just get a good scream and have him scream a couple times to make sure that we didn't peek it. I was just like staring at the camera to make sure we didn't we didn't go over. Because it was very hard, like especially when you're using the stabilizer, to actually monitor the audio since you can't wear headsets with it. Otherwise it impacts and gets caught in all like the stabilizing segments and all that, whatever the word, little gimbal thingies. And that's where we had to get like the JHobz and ADEF like audio over comms, which just recorded them in that room and then put them in and then popped a filter on it to make it sound like a radio, and away we went.
I think that was like originally supposed to be a close-up on Ruby and then come to us, which is why there's like this awkward amount of silence there at the beginning.
Yeah.
Stimulated emission of radiation.
We didn't have a ton of lighting, like we didn't have enough lights to light that whole set evenly. So you could kind of tell that like people on the left side of the couch are darker, like in shadow more than the people on the right side. And it's like our
very limited budget.
Wait.
It took us a while to make that line work.
Yeah. Not flexible. That is not my job.
That's where I come in. Okay, so these lasers are from the N++ series, so they are extra attuned to movement. Not only will I need to be fast, but ready to adjust in case they shift at any moment.
How can you get through that safely?
Ooh, Foo, I've got the perfect training regimen for you. It's called Ring Fit Adventure. It's done me wonders, and you can see Verxel's amazing routine later tonight on this very stage.
Heck.
That's awesome, and yes, I definitely will, but listen, Spike, there's a reason I'm known as the Fogs in my field, okay? I've bent and twisted through so many laser mazes, I can like do them in my sleep, which I have, by accident.
You do know that if you touch even one of these lasers, all of our hard work will have been for nothing.
Yes, I know. Well, that's why I've been watching David TKI's super hot VR runs for extra safety measures.
Look, that's David's run. He's in chat right now.
You can catch him perfectly dodging past enemies in his any % run on Saturday. I'm ready.
I'm still really happy with how this came out.
This is probably the one I spent the most time on. I'll rewind a little bit. It got cut a little bit short in the edit, but I definitely did a very intentional when we come in, like pulling back and then revealing the laser, like right there. So there's like 2 frames of it. So it got cut a little bit earlier, but want to do like the over the head, get all the things like. I spent a lot of time like getting the camera inside this laser maze. Like anytime like she's going and doing all of the acrobatics through, like I'm huddled inside trying not to touch any of these quote unquote lasers, which were just like yarn you picked up at the supermarket.
Yeah. But it ended up looking okay. Like it when you pause it, like you can tell, right? But like it looked better than I think any of us expected it to. We thought it for sure was gonna look like yarn, just very easily. It's like, yeah, you can tell, but it looked way better than we expected with all the light shining off of it.
We adjusted the lights intentionally to try and make them pop out a little bit more.
And this is in a hallway, so like we couldn't kill the main overhead lights because that's what you would do.
That's all we had.
Make the room dark. So we couldn't make the room dark to be able to just shine bright lights on the yarn.
Yeah, so the back of this shot, you can see like there's that little hallway, then there's like empty space out of the double doors on the left. That's where the elevators are. So thankfully we didn't have to worry about noise because those elevators were just going on and off. And there were a couple times where there's just people coming off the elevators and going over here, and I was like, well, shit, let's go do it again. And if you pay really, really close attention, you'll notice in like every single one of these shots, the lasers are slightly different because they kept on falling down or someone, no, I'm guilty as well, just backing into a laser when I'm trying to pull the camera back and it comes off the wall. We're trying to get it all there. Repositioning it so Fu can like do our acrobatics better. And then this was probably the part that was hardest to, I think, sell. We were struggling so much. So as soon as we enter the laser segments and come in here, this is back, quote unquote, in the presidential suite. Storyline wise, this is supposed to be where we're no longer talking about it. It's actually happening. So this is happening live. Everybody's doing their thing. It's no longer we're at the heist table. So what I did is I had it go from the washed out color palette to full color to hopefully, try and sell a little bit of that. This is also where we're going to think of if we had it in letterbox, we'd expand from the letterbox view to full view. So we definitely could have done more, but
the letterbox thing was one that I think would have helped. But then there was another thing that I really wanted to help with it that we couldn't really do, which is to go from like Fu doing the flips and whatnot, and then she says easy, and to kind of at that point not cut and follow her with the camera into the room, because then it would have felt like every other little flash forward is like pretty short, right?
Yeah.
And they all just kind of go, you make your joke or your set up your scene or whatever, and then they're done. And so to have one like hang with the music fading out and then like the camera not cutting either and like continuing to follow her, I think would have helped sell it a lot better as well, on top of like the letterboxing and the color grading. But unfortunately, the lasers are not set up where the suite was. The lasers are in a totally different spot, so we couldn't follow her into the room. It was just a random like staff room, and so we had to like change the way we're gonna do it. It's one of those things again, like we didn't know what we would have access to yet on site, like by what specific times, because we were hoping to have the presidential suite earlier, but we couldn't get it any earlier.
I think you got this safe off of Amazon or something for like...
Yeah, do you know you can buy a safe off Amazon for like $50 or something? Or whatever it was. It was something like that, like $70 maybe.
Yeah, and this definitely 40, is not... I don't know. This is an electronic save, and we have Fu with the glass to hear the tumblers that do not exist.
Yep. But it was like we gotta have that.
Yeah, so that was very much intentional to be that stupid. Yeah. Probably could have tightened up the editing on this one a little bit.
Yeah, the problem was we only had the one angle, so we couldn't jump. It would have been a jump cut.
So sad. Yeah. This was a good one. So this was in someone's just regular hotel room.
It was Sent's room.
So we went to Sent's room. He's in his own broom closet, aka the standard hotel closet, trying to film in the very, very tight area. And this whole thing, while we're doing the interrogation, seeing like Angel's up there with the light, moving it back and forth to kind of get like that swinging light look. If you look at the shadows closely, it doesn't come out too clearly, but that was definitely an intentional thing. Yeah.
And I'll cancel all your prize segments. No, okay, anything but that, Hobbs. Anything but that. Mike did.
Yeah, you could see the lighting changing on it.
Yeah, especially like on the.
An emergency. It started with a 4. I remembered a 4, like April.
And the lower thirds are happening live over the video.
Those are being put in as we're playing essentially a pre-recorded video for everybody to see, and that's like done using our system that we have. This was one of the longer ones it took us to actually complete because, well, just getting all the lines right, because there's like a lot of dialogue happening took quite a bit. And then as well as...
and also it's very tight camera angles. Like it's a very small hallway and a closet that we're trying to work with here, so we did not have a lot of like room to work in.
Yeah, I think everybody knows how small hotel rooms are, especially the little entrance hallway where we had essentially 4 people crammed in there. Though obviously when we're shooting one side of it, like Hobbs and Sant aren't there at the same time doing stuff. Well,
but
we
still were for most of it because of to get the eye lines right. Like we still were both there. Like I stood there while Sant delivered all his lines.
Yeah, so we had to play around with some stuff to make sure we could get everybody in there. And then we also struggled to just figure out how Sent's going to get all the prizes. So this first one, this one right here, the 4 carbuncle keychain. So we tried several times to just like, let's put the 4 keychains in the pocket and then just go in and grab them. And that was actually very, very difficult. So what we ended up doing is just like, just hold on to them and then just mime going into the pocket like you're pulling them out, even though they're already in your hand, just so we could get it done. That's the take we ended up using.
And the other thing too is that we actually had another light come on every time that he displays a prize. That way it changes the lighting a little bit too.
Yeah.
It's harder to tell once we added the effect of like, washing out the colors, but.
Yep, just an adjustment layer in Premiere. That's all it was. So this clock, we did it a couple times, and then just like had it upside down, or it fell over, or something. It was surprisingly difficult to get this clock shot right here correct.
And we did set the time of it to be what time it roughly should be, because the clock wasn't running. So we set the time to what time it roughly should be at that point in the pre-show.
All these little bits of detail that nobody would notice except the people either very, very into it, the people who made it, or the people watching this. I hope everybody's enjoying.
That's SGDQ. It's got to be a different year. Yes, it was 1998. I remember because we just started playing Pokemon Yellow, and I caught this absolutely adorable Jigglypuff. Yeah, this
just someone just throwing it on
Jigglypuff
screen.
From Cats. Hold on, this isn't gonna work. Can you hold this for me?
The breaking of the handcuffs, like it didn't matter.
Just creations.
Give the tape
It's
hands.
adorable, isn't it?
That was funny. That was just Sent's idea.
Oh, she's so talented.
If you listen really closely, you can hear somebody laughing. By the way,
it was very tough to keep it in for all of these.
Okay.
And now we're back.
Also, we had to do a costume change during that whole thing.
Yeah,
so.
not only did we have to get 7 people from the set back up here. Yeah, getting all 7 people with headsets, and these aren't wireless headsets. These are all routed via big, thick XLR cables into like this giant snake. So it took 2 stagehands. I think it was like Bob and Vesper who did it. A couple of our interview producers, and this was one thing that was rehearsed several times again, because like we went one way with 4 people, which was a lot easier, and then thankfully we had like that huge long pre-recorded segment to make sure everybody can get in here, everybody can get their costumes changed into whatever they were wearing in their pre-recorded segment. So that's what we wanted to signify. It's like everything's been done, we had everything dressed up. So when you opened this, did you already have it pre-opened, or did you actually put in the code?
The code didn't matter. The key was an override key. Yeah. And so I had it like basically ready to unlock, but I didn't want it to like be visibly open before we started it, and I also didn't want to like I had to I didn't want to turn the key and then open it, because I feel like then it would have been weird, like open it visibly even at that moment, because then I felt like it would have been weird where in a moment I'm going to find out that the tape's not in there. Like that, I thought that would have been very like odd that I opened it just part way and then not all the way. So I figured it was like, okay, it's just, you got to turn it so that you hear it click open. And then if you hear it click, you think you're good. Mm-hmm. Right. And so that was why it doesn't, like, I don't actually open it here.
Yeah, we were kind of having a little bit of trouble with it. Like there's one time in like the rehearsals where it was facing, like the door was facing Hobbs, and I was like, why don't we just flip it over and just do it this way? It'll be easier.
I don't think it was facing me. We decided to do it vertically to see pretty quickly, but like the thing was that also because it's vertical, opening it meant that the door would be like 90 degrees. Mm-hmm. I should get back to my camera. 90 degrees hanging out like this way. And one time during rehearsal, it did, like, somebody was like, hey, why don't you leave it open? And I just like bumped the table a little bit, and it went bam and like made a loud noise, slammed down. I was like, that's why. So that was why it was all like really weird, and I had to think about specifically how we were gonna show that it was open or not.
Right.
998. That worked? We did it. We got it. I can't believe it. Oh, you fools.
Good Good transition to evil laugh.
I wish I could have. So legitimately, I wanted to practice the evil laugh some more because I felt like it was only okay. But the problem was, practicing at home was really weird because I was like, my neighbors are gonna just hear me randomly laughing like a fucking
random movie villain
madman
next door.
Yeah, and B, and practicing like on site was tough because I did it a few times in rehearsals and literally like very quickly my throat started to get like torn up from it. Like it really was messing with my voice. So I couldn't like go too hard in the practice runs, which was a shame because I really wanted to get a slightly more maniacal one, but it worked out okay.
4 minutes and 53 seconds. No more resets in all the viewers. I'll be a god.
You're a madman, just like Dracula in Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, these kinds of like reaction shots are the kinds of things that like just not having enough rehearsal time is we don't know what's going to be the best like reaction shot somewhere, and you can't just hang on one shot for too long because it will get boring. So that's the kind of thing where it's like
we got to do something.
Ways to do more rehearsal, like to have more rehearsal time next event. So that way we can like tighten up that kind of stuff.
Is this what normal pre-shows are like?
Yes.
Okay.
Hobbs, what are you gonna do now?
Well, it's simple. First, I'll tackle Mario. Move over, Grand Pooh Bear. There's a new Baron of Shell Jumps now. Then, how about Zelda, blindfolded? Why stop at Breath of the Wild any percent like Bubsy on Saturday? I'll tackle the whole series.
No, not Majora's Mask. That's mine.
Soon. The entire event will be mine. Get used to
this is another one of those like
JHobz,
jokes where you don't know how much it's gonna land. Like we all thought it was really funny, and I was like, oh yeah, this is totally gonna get like a big laugh. And I think it got more like kind of like groaners. And I was like, oh, all right, well, I just gotta keep going.
Well, you see,
so the gold VHS tape, you don't see too much of it. That was spray painted on site. Just like coming up, we had a couple different prop tapes. I don't know what happened to it. We need to keep this in like the GDQ pre-show museums. Like here's the gold tape.
Y&H grabs a lot of this stuff and keeps it, so I wouldn't be surprised if she has it. But I don't know.
Yeah, I wanted to take it and it was already gone because I put it in my room. You know, just taking one of the the gold VHS tape and the gold VHS tape stunt double that we made. We had one that was like perfect, and then one that was like, no, it's not too great. Nobody would have noticed the difference between the two. It was like, let's go with the pristine tape. So it just dried, had just enough time to dry for us to be able to do this. Keys of the shower.
All of Keys' clips are just him, just like popping from behind something.
I knew from the start that something was amiss. Why you change a pre-show at the last second like that? That doesn't sound like JHobz 296 to me. And all of you falling for this heist thing, it gave me the perfect opportunity to sit back, observe, and take action. While Spike and Fu were busy wasting their time with costumes, I got an extra access key from the front desk, and I was the guard all along. I knew Adef didn't have any actual hacking skills, but he did forget to sign out of Slack, which let me notice that there's a scheduled maintenance period right at the exact time of the heist. That was lucky.
We hang on this a little long because we just didn't have anything else to like cut to for it.
Okay, I need to talk about this. When we filmed the Spike and Adef scene on the computer, Keys was around, and we completely forgot. I'll take the L for this one. Completely forgot to get this shot before we broke it down. So after we filmed the whole hallway sequence, which we did at the same time that we were doing everything there, just to make sure we had everything, because Keys was there as part of the initial one, just with his hoodie up, and so you couldn't even actually see him. And so we had to come back in, reset up lights, and it was like, so like the lighting's a little bit different. It's a little bit brighter than what we had initially, but since it's far enough removed, like I don't think people noticed too much.
No, you can't really tell.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, quick, get in there, because we were fearing that. It was like, how much longer do we have this room before we have to get out? We didn't know.
So we were still trying to switch to the correct room.
Now this part, Keys skipping around the corner. This was, I got this take purely as a joke. So originally it was just going to be him like just briskly walking around the corner. And then he was like, "Can I just go skip around just for fun?" I was like, "Sure, why not? We'll just throw it in there." And then when we were doing rehearsals and I was playing this back, I was like, oh my god, they used that take? Are you really? It ends up working great because Keys is a goofball, so I kind of like that the editor went and did this, because if I was editing it, this wouldn't be the take I used. So always good to have multiple people checking each other, see what would play better with audiences.
Which was very exhausting, by the way.
This is where Keys broke his badge. So this was Saturday before the event started, and we were coming up with how do we want to deliver the sandwich. So I forget if this was like a Jimmy John sandwich or something, but someone just found a plate, went and got a sandwich and put it in here, because we wanted to give them a sandwich, because that's what they do in Pokemon Violet, to give to the Pokemon to make them super, super happy. So very quickly, because like, can I just like scoot in underneath? And I was like, yeah, and then just roll out a frame and it'll just be done. This is a one take wonder. We did it once. That's the take we used because we didn't need to do it again, because it was perfect, even if he did break his badge. Right there. Crunch. Badge broke.
I rounded the corner to find that Ruby.
This is the scene that we so Court. We knew Court was gonna have bows. I didn't think she was gonna have this many. I was like, Court, bring out all the bows, and we just need you to be browsing through them. And she's like, she had like an entire like briefcase full of these things. And so I was like, okay, Court, just put on bows.
I remember specifically there was during one of the meetings, people were like, should we like message Court and make sure, to let her know that we need her to bring bows as props for the pre-show? And I was like, if there is one thing I am certain of in my life, is that I do not need to message Court to ask if she can bring a bunch of bows. I was like,
yeah, man,
no, we're good.
She got them.
They'll have them. And yeah, they brought them. So.
The dangerous part had yet to come. I knew that I had to
laser spell
to make sure that food was safe. So I turned the lasers off.
Please tell me one of the things that you have in the footage is the other way we were gonna.
Yes, it's in there. I'm not gonna spoil it. That we had a couple different ways to do that scene. We think it was just funny with the lasers being turned off. I also got a couple different takes of Keys attempting to do the laser grid. We did that a variety of different ways. But,
then it was just a simple matter of biding my time and waiting for the perfect opportunity to take this tape right out from under your greedy little nose.
The ending for the pre-show didn't come until kind of getting pretty close to the actual event. And I kind of like just half-jokingly suggested, can we just have, it was in like one of the pre-event meetings, like, can we just have like the speed police come in and take them away? And then everybody was like, yeah, we'll go do it. That's exactly what we did. So the two people taking them away are two of our producers, interview producers, Bob and Vespers, are doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. They're great stage hands as well.
So we got the tape. You ready to show everyone a first speed run?
Yes!
All right. Who's got the VHS player?
I guess we didn't think about that part.
Ada, if you're the tech guy, don't you have a VCR?
What's a VCR?
Oh my
Video
God.
cassette recorder?
What's a cassette?
You're so young. Spike has all the gadgets.
What?
Maybe.
It's 2023. No one's got a VCR anymore.
Well, this all feels like a massive waste of time now. But you know what isn't a waste of time? Sticking around for the first speedrun of the marathon. We have Sonic Frontiers by Alpha Dolphin coming up. But before that, I'm going to throw it up to the front to Mike Uyama, Layla Foulihan, and Greta Doucette. Stick around, everyone. This is going to be an awesome week of speedruns.
There we go.
There we go.
that's the pre-show.
And
ended up being like 24 minutes long. So we're always shooting for 3. They used to be around 30 minutes. And
no, 25. So we were like golden.
Yeah.
We shoot for like 25 minutes, and usually we end up closer to 30, like 28 or so. Mm-hmm. And so this one ended up landing like right around.
Yeah, this one's 23:03, so just a hair over
so
that.
A little short, but yeah.
I'm always worried whenever we do these, that's going to take too long. It's going to take too long.
Like that we're going to go too long, yeah. Because we usually do.
we usually do. This one ended up being, despite all of the pre-recorded segments, got through it pretty quick. But I hope everybody enjoyed the pre-show. Things you didn't see. So after we did like the rehearsals, so we had to go edit all that together. And so big shout outs to Musical Daredevil, who stayed up to 3 a.m. with me as we went through and edited all the stuff the day of. So went to sleep, got like 6 hours of sleep, woke up, went back down, and did it live, babies.
David and Trey killed it on the editing. And I think Mel had a big hand in like making sure all the audio was good.
Yep. So I know Mel and Caveman were doing a lot, and YNH as well. We're doing a lot of like the set prep while I was going around, and then Angel and May helped out so much with like the lighting, making sure we could get like.
Bob was helping a lot with those segments too.
Yeah, and Bob was like our grip. May and Bob were my key grips to help hoist everything around and do everything, and it was definitely like probably like the first time we went and like had two large groups doing two completely different things at the same time to make it happen. So we definitely would not have been able to do this like a couple events ago, but we've been getting like a lot more organized, a lot more seasoned, knowing what it takes and making sure we have all the equipment in place and all of that.
That one was still very ambitious. I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I wish we had had like one more day of, polish and practice time, but that's how we always kind of feel. Fun. Like we start on that pretty much right when the games list comes out. I think we had our first meeting to do interview stuff, I think like the day before the games list came out or the day of or something. We had like an early copy. And then we started doing pre-show stuff like the week after. So it's like months of work, although this time we had a shorter timeline, so it was only a couple months. But it was a lot of months of like brainstorming and writing and editing and writing and rehearsing and editing and writing. And there's a lot of jokes that like end up not working a lot of the time. And like originally I was not the villain of the pre-show. For the longest time we thought it was going to be Mike. We were going to have Mike Uyama be the villain. But then when we kind of realized, we were like, well, there's a point where we want there needs to be like a big villain monologue. Like we have to have it. It kind of made too much sense for the way that the story beats were working out in the pre-show. And we were like, Mike is, wanted to retire a few events ago, the prior event or whatever it was. So we were like, and is now like the only manager there at the time. We cannot like, pull him away for rehearsals and that kind of thing on the day before the event. So we were just like trying to figure out other ideas of who would, or maybe like, oh, well, maybe we don't have a monologue. We never actually see Mike. It's just, it seems like it's Mike the whole time. And then, like at some point somebody pitched that I was the bad guy. And I was like, ooh, okay.
All
and
right.
I was like still not thinking it was going to work for the longest time. Like I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to work. Like, are we doing too many twists or something like that? And it ended up working. Once we kind of decided on that, Keys and I just had our own little writing session to figure out my monologue and his like twists on every obstacle, like the way that he was actually the real mastermind the whole time. And most of that went kind of unchanged. Like we tweaked a few things. The JGDQ thing was in there from the beginning though. Yeah. And it was in a different like beat of the thing, but it was it was always in there. People thought it was really funny. That got brought up to me a few times throughout the week, I think. The JGDQ. It's like, oh, I'm glad people thought that was funny too.
Yeah, it was good. J_GDQ on Twitter. All right. I didn't have anything else to add to the pre-show itself, other than like our entire team was incredible.
Yeah, everybody crushed it. Yeah.
I'm sure I forgot to thank somebody doing it. I promise it's not intentional.
Yeah, no, everybody like YNH was like filling gaps everywhere too, and was I think also one of the folks like rearranging the set during the like the snake movements and the costume changes and stuff. Yeah, it was really great.
So Hobbs, are you ready for the blooper reel / alternate takes?
Of course.
Okay, I have not shown Hobbs this. Just sorry, this is all raw footage that I took from alternate scenes and takes and just general shenanigans that happened during the whole thing. Enjoy.
So some of them are probably not meant to have audio normally.
Yeah. So the audio quality is going to be varied, but enjoy, everybody. 3, 2, 1, action.
No. We just lost a laser.
God damn it.
The laser
Right
fell
on the cue.
instantly.
Yeah.
Literally on cue to the action, too.
It started with a 4. I remember it. A 4, like April, and also like these absolutely lovely carbuncle acrylic keychains we got from our good friend E. Watson. Absolutely beautiful.
All right, let's try that again.
Close
Just
though.
going
It is
from
really hard to get all 4 of these out of his pocket with my hands.
action.
No, you can trust me. I always don't say the end of
That line also got kind of stepped up, and it was like because we turned it into a screen.
Trust me, I always donate to say the end of
I always donate to save the animals.
Yeah.
Oh, mon ami! I am so sorry. I will do anything for you.
Okay, that's good. 40. All right, so look straight. Keep looking straight. On go, look towards each other. 3, 2, 1, go. Now look back. That looks so cool.
That's pretty great.
Stop with the routine, Scent. I know you've got it. I know Mike gave...
Your stupid sleeves.
Oh, I think it kept falling, yeah.
Okay, that's
Pinko with the new 16-star world record or the 14-star world record, whichever one's better. And it's sad.
Nice.
I've typed a really productive comment on Google Docs.
So this is keys turning off the laser array, take 1, and action. Right, this one we didn't have labels on yet. And
He actually pressed the lighting thing too.
how did I miss? We got Spike saying nice. Take 1. Action.
Nice. Stop with the routine, Scent. I know Mike gave you the code. So, do you want us to shit. Do you want me to leave you trapped in here all week?
All right, let's do another one with facing the camera as you say nice. Spike's face just gets me. Let's do a turn. Like, stand right there, turn, and say nice. Ready? Action.
Nice.
Oh, I touched the laser.
You're dead.
I'm dead.
Hey, that one held up though.
Yeah, so that was...
Yeah. What is that laser made of?
That was a
The
union
union laser. Yeah. Action.
You're laughing and shaking the camera.
Sorry. Ruby was had the biggest.
Yeah, Ruby looked right at the camera. Yeah. Yep, definitely took some beard hair.
That wasn't acting. That's just fucking hard.
I'm sorry.
You hit it again.
I did?
Yep. Yeah, but it was close. You were very close. You were almost
It took
there.
quite a few times.
Oh, that's
God.
Wow, it's indestructible.
Every laser fell out except those.
I think I screamed before I got pulled.
I'm gonna do one with doing both at the same time.
Yes, yeah. So I was about to say okay. With thumbs and words at the same time. Action.
Nice.
Okay.
Can you hold this for me?
Where am I? Why do I keep looking at Scent? Sorry. Do it again. We're good.
We're
good.
So tape 1, this is going to be just keeping the sunglasses on, battle cry, into fear. Ready? Action.
Yeah, I think you peaked the audio. That's why we didn't have it for the live one.
There's a door there.
Okay, so action.
Alright, cool.
Do one where you're looking at the laptop.
Hang on, I need a second. All right. I couldn't keep it together.
Spike's face. That was us getting the audio.
Yeah.
She's so talented.
Think about Hobbs doing that.
No, we're not using that one. And I'll cancel all your prize segments.
No, not my prizes.
Why did I look at him?
Action. Seeing the Mission Impossible thing destroyed me. Like I.
We were all
All right,
doing it
so
a lot too.
listen.
Yeah.
I know you got the code. We just need your two-factor code, all right? No.
Go ahead and give us your best stress.
What's this event's Pokemon?
This is what it originally was supposed to be.
The eyebrows were so good. That was always in the plan, though, even from the Ivysaur.
Yeah, I suggested those very early on.
The person with the cleaning.
Yeah. We need to get a location to pick up the key. Pick up what? That's the hotel key. Yeah, I was just like, yeah, go ahead and do it.
All right, thanks, thanks.
Oh, wait, Hobbs.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Thanks, Hobbs.
How it moved!
Ready? And
That wasn't
action.
hitting the tripod.
All right. Station for a couple seconds. All right. Now something is right down here. Hold that for a little bit. All right. Now look back up at Spike. You're shrugging. You don't care what happens. You're eating a muffin.
With the wrapper?
It was like in shock. Okay, let's do this. It's like,
Can we have an added voiceover line of "I was incredibly hungry"?
okay, let's do that again. All right, so
That's funny. I didn't know about that.
that's what I got. So
That's really funny.
well, yeah, that's all I had. I hope you all enjoyed this. I think all of us on the interview team really love putting these together, and we love talking about these. Hobbs, any final thoughts?
Not really. Just this one was like, it was a lot of work. I guess one thing we never really talked about is that all of these like flash forward clips were originally just supposed to have no audio.
Yeah.
And it was going to have people talking over, like, it's called VOSOP, voice over, wait, what is it again? Voice over selected audio track or something like that? I don't remember. But we were going to do live talking over the recorded video, where each person was just kind of talking about like the way that their idea of the execution was going to work to get around that obstacle. And when we just kept writing and like ended up making them into like little mini scenes that almost all needed audio in them, which made things way more difficult and like made it a lot trickier for the editors and for the like production team and all that. So like huge props to everybody for rolling with the punches and making it happen and getting it as like to work as well as it did. Like huge props to you, Phant, for taking charge on filming all of the
I love making
pre-recorded
movies,
bits.
so this is right in my wheelhouse.
And yeah, it was super fun. We are always excited to do more of them, and we'll see. Don't be surprised if the next one has fewer pre-recorded bits or.
We definitely had a long talk. It's like, okay,
whatever.
we need to make sure we do something a little more reasonable.
Or like,
with the
what's
time we have.
funny is that like there was one person who was telling me like, why wasn't like more of it pre-recorded or something, thinking that was gonna have made it easier too. Or like, nah, it was just like the tricky part was so much in just like getting things edited in time and that you only have we can't film a lot of this stuff until we're on site. So don't be surprised if the next one looks a little different. But yeah, it was these are fun to do. I hope people like hearing about them.
Thanks everybody so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoy this behind-the-scenes look into the SGDQ 2023 pre-show. Hobbs, of course, thank you so much for joining me. This was a lot of fun, and I hope you all had fun as well. See you in the next one.